Yeah, fun. It was saying the 6th. Maybe it got put up a little bit early. Maybe it
All
was
my
some.
Twitter friends are like obsessing over the last few days being up.
Maybe it was something else that was the 6th and it was the 4th. But either which way,
No.
I did message Raymond. He hasn't responded, so tough luck to him.
Pardon me.
But to everybody, for everybody else, just to recap quickly from last week, we had various encounters with a fight about with the fight about Lubash becoming a genie potentially, and over the lamp and such, and then various roadside encounters where the party has obtained a +1 sword, a pendant that makes someone functionally ageless, and then you encountered a
It wasn't a pendant. It was
It's an
the
hourglass.
hourglass pendant, what have you. Don't care.
Don't confuse me.
It was an item that I haven't went and checked on. And then the party encountered a giant dragon, which the first inclination was throw the frog at it.
Yep.
Well, that wasn't the first instinct, but it was the most impactful.
It was the prevailing instinct,
I stand by my choice.
which promptly led to some social interactions, some annoyed dissatisfaction at being ignored, and an abduction of 2 party members, leaving the rest of the party to slowly catch up over the course of about 3 days.
Yeah, no, I'm just charging. I'm gonna keep going for as long as I can.
Okay, if you wish to be forced march for 3 days, I need like 7 constitution saving throws.
I refuse. I am not doing that.
Because,
Haley will just cheat. Haley will just cling onto the beetle.
because after like 8 to 12 hours, you've got to start making one like every 6 hours, not to mention the ones you have to make for not going to sleep.
Actually, I could potentially do it because I have my magic steed thing, so I'm not going to be like. Yeah.
Hey, quick question, James.
Yeah.
Do you think the beetle requires a Constitution saving throw? If it charges on constantly, considering it's pretty much an elemental.
It does count as a living creature for all intents and purposes, for the sake of long rest, so it would require the same things. And for 3 days travel-ish, you would need it for a continuous fast march. 9 constitution saving throws.
How many Constitution saving throw fails? Does it kill something?
6.
6. And after
but after the first one, all the rest are at disadvantage.
After the first, and after 3 of them, the number goes from 9 to 16 because your speed becomes halved.
I didn't know that. Can I take one of the horses?
Well, actually, no. You physically can't march long enough because at 5, your speed becomes 0.
Can I take one of the horses? What speed are the horses?
The horses are 60 foot. You do have a wagon that's capable of carrying everyone at 60 feet.
Okay,
Because you're currently...
How long will that take us to get there?
Like 4.5 days, if not consistent marching.
Well, it's because I don't know about Jess, but I'm already driving the wagons that way.
It was going to take you 3 days of constant marching if you weren't on the wagon, because the wagon, while it being faster, you didn't say you were taking the wagon. The wagon is about twice as... at fast march, it's about 1.5 times faster.
Okay, well, when they come past on the wagon, I'm going to jump, just acrobatics onto the wagon, because I didn't even wait around for the others to make the decision. I just straightforward marched.
So, 30 seconds after you leave...
Well, I thought it would have been more like...
Probably about 5 minutes after I get all the shit organised in the wagon go.
Yeah, because also Mikey debated and really wasn't interested in following.
Mikey didn't want to go.
So, yeah, I'd say it's 2 minutes that they debated, because there wasn't anything to load on the wagon because you didn't unload anything. So it's like 5 to 10 minutes. It's a negligible amount of time. They catch up. The party continues on.
Yeah, the beetle would take off. And
hopefully, we don't have to roll encounters because it's all bad.
No, you do not require to roll any more encounters.
But if you want to.
After 2 days, you come to the base of the mountains where the party's kept a relative eye on where the dragon went. It did fly into a mountain range, but it only flew 1 or 2 mountains in. So the party's managed to go. It was 3 mountains in.
I'm surprised we could see that far.
It's flat land.
Nah, okay. Because we were to the east of the town, weren't we?
So let me put you on the world map.
But I want my big dragon.
Load already. Roll 20.
We were on that plains bit just to the...
Yeah, we were just north of the forest and to the east of the town.
Yes. Which is all basically flat land to the mountains.
Except for that road.
Yeah, you guys were about at the V. Somewhere between the V to the A. And the dragon has flown to about here-ish. Which is why you managed to go.
Yeah.
It flew to the mountains, and it flew to like roughly the second one on the left.
Okay, yeah. So because their carriage is 40 miles a day without pushing the horse.
Yeah, so
yeah.
like 3 days, as I said.
Well, we have 2 horses.
Well, you have 2 horses for the sake of carry capacity. More horses not make things go faster.
Well, less carry capacity at the moment too, but whatever.
Well,
Anyway.
the thing is, horses can pull up to a carry capacity, then they get dropped to half speed. You were at full speed. This is not like cars where you cram more horses in the engine and thing goes room bigger. This is you strap 30 horses to the front and you still go as fast as 2 of them.
What if I shove a horse inside another horse?
It's called a pregnant horse, Trent.
No. Like, you cut it open and you have legs coming out, so it has, like, 8 legs.
Oh, hell.
It's called Star Wars during a blizzard.
No, Trent, what you have there is you have to go argue with Odin for a horse with 8 legs.
Yeah.
But yes,
Actually, no, you just need to convince Loki to turn himself into a female horse and then get rooted by the Lord of Horse.
Either which way, carrying on. After 3 days, you arrive at the base of the mountain. These mountains are not high enough to be snow-capped, except for at the very, very peak. You do notice that a lot of these mountains have little mining shacks set up at the bottom of them, where it seems that there have at least been, in past, prospectors and the like set up.
Got a question.
Anybody who would like to give me, who is, I'll say, proficient in, proficient or has more than 15 intelligence, can roll me an intelligence check or a history check.
I have a 14 in intelligence, but I'm proficient in
Then you
history.
can roll me a history check. It's if you're proficient in history.
No.
It's if you're proficient in history, you can roll for me, or if you have 15 or more intelligence for a general intelligence check.
So,
I was gonna say,
I fit both of that criteria.
Yeah.
I do have a question though.
Yes.
As we approach, can we see the lair influence around the mountains?
We'll get to that. With a 14, Navarra is aware that the reason there is several keeps built around here, Drum Keep, Vanguard Keep, and Cogswell, along with the Black Pit, these mountains are rich in iron.
Lots of iron around here.
Lots of iron, as well as a decent amount of other ores. So they've done a lot of surface mining and underground mining. The mountains have stayed relatively untouched due to hazards during the mining process. Cave-ins, rock slides, things like that. Unexplained disappearances of entire mining crews.
I'd have a reason for that.
I'm start climbing if I can.
So what
please.
was your question, Peter? Can you see the lair influence, did you say?
Well, don't most dragons that have a lair over a long time start to influence the environment around it?
Yeah.
Can we see
Do
any
you
sort
know
of
what type
impact
of
from
dragon
that?
do you know what type of dragon it was? And does your character
Raymond or
know what a lair influence would look like?
It's a Raymond, apparently.
No, but they typically have some pretty significant impact on the
Can
surroundings.
I please start climbing?
I was basically saying, is there any significant changes that we can see in the
Not that you
environment?
can not that you can see from where you are.
Okay.
Can I start climbing now?
Everyone can start climbing if they wish.
I'm
You
gonna start
do
climbing.
see roughly because you know you're looking for it about 3/4 of the way up the mountain you're at the base of, there is a cave entrance that looks like it would be about the right size.
How
Yeah,
many
I'm gonna start
foot did you
climbing.
say that would be away?
How many feet?
Yes.
It is like 3.5 miles. Pretty
Cool.
much straight up.
Cool.
I'm gonna start climbing, please.
It's not straight up. You can climb the majority of the mountain without assisted gear by going back and forth around rocks and up. It's probably going to take you close to 6 to 8 hours, and you'll have to leave the cart behind. It will take you about 4 hours if you decide to climb it directly, but you will need the appropriate climbing equipment or a climb speed.
What's the appropriate climbing equipment?
Hammer, pittons,
James.
rope.
Huh?
Hammer, pittons, ropes. Yes, Bailey.
I haven't
For the sake of posterity, safe to assume Mikey just stays with the cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go up there, so he's probably just going to stay down with the cart. He didn't.
I have an explorer's pack. Will that have the
Probably.
Okay, awesome. I'm
If
gonna
not,
start
I have
climbing.
the shit required in my burglar's pack.
Okay,
Um,
so I'm going to say this:
I also have a fly speed.
who wishes to climb directly, and who wishes to take the road?
I'm gonna climb directly.
Also, do we actually have Raymond?
Well, he is on Discord, but he's not popped up on.
Roll 20.
He's muted.
He is muted on Discord. He's probably setting his headset up. It's just I hadn't checked Discord yet.
James.
Oobadaboo. I think I just got text messaged.
Raymond?
From Raymond. I've actually been trying to join, but net or something isn't allowing me. Got in for a minute ago, but words kept getting cut. Sounds like Raymond is suffering internet connection issues,
Okay.
Fun.
which may require a modem reset, I'm going to tell him.
So
It, it actually took so long for the Corvair app to actually load for me. Just finished loading them.
Yeah.
It was 4 hours to climb directly. How long by road again?
6 to 6.5.
I would like to take the road, but take the road on my magic steed.
The magic steed is the same speed as the horse cart.
No, it isn't.
No, it's
Her
faster.
magic steed is 100 feet around.
Oh wow!
Can you have 2 people on your magic steed?
Not two mediums.
That.
James.
She could have an Ibly if Ibly was there. Yes.
The beetle is safe to assume just starts walking.
Yes. The
So
beetle
that
probably
thing
didn't
just doesn't
stop.
give a shit. That thing just doesn't give a shit. It's got a climb speed. Can someone just attach themselves to it? I mean, technically it's a medium, so it's a grapple check, but probably.
Yeah, it's a medium. It's got a climb speed. The beetle just goes.
Can I hold on to it? Can I grab
Roll an animal handling check
Oh.
because it's not your familiar, and you're trying to convince it to let you ride it.
I've also traveled with it.
I'm gonna say because you've got a history of Ibli and everything, it's not too pleased, but it does not try to throw you off.
Yay!
You will still have to
Can
make.
people hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will still have to
Okay.
make the occasional
Seems to be
check.
working.
I will still have to make.
You'll still have to make the occasional athletics check to hold on because
That's cool.
it is going straight up a basically vertical cliff, and
That's
you
okay.
don't fit the saddle.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Nibley doesn't use a saddle. It's just like a blanket. Nibley just sticks to the blanket.
Either which way, there's no saddle to
Saddle.
attach to. Raymond,
Yo.
assuming you've missed most of the things, party is at the base of the mountain where the others were taken. The party is currently deciding who is going straight up by either climbing or using ropes and pittons, or who is taking the road. The road will take longer, but is safer. Jess
What
is
checks do we need for climbing?
It's athletics, and preferably you will need the appropriate equipment. So hammer, pittons, and rope. Either a burglar's pack or an explorer's pack generally have them.
Dungeoneers have them as well.
Yes.
I do have an explorer's pack.
So you do have them, so you could climb.
So athletics.
Haley is taking her magical steed, which, with the increased movement speed, Haley, I'm going to say you're going to get there in about the 4 hours it's taking everyone else to climb.
Cool.
Because
I was
you're
going to say,
literally
I'll travel
basically
with
sprinting
Haley,
up there.
but I'll fly, so my speed's the same.
Zip. Yeah, you can cut corners and stuff. Mikey's staying behind. Kujiro is basically just gonna... What equipment did I give him? Ooh, I need to go to the other window. I'm sitting in the the not GM one, so I've apparently got nothing attributed to my sheet.
The beetle has 40-foot climb speed, so however long it takes just to hold
That
on.
is 40-foot climb speed is actually means you're going to get up there faster. You're going to get there in about 3 hours, give or take. Because I was counting on everyone only climbing at about 15 to 20 feet because you generally got half speed for climbing.
But no, the beetle just has 40-foot climb speed down
Nah.
outright.
I have athletics. I'll do that while I'm holding onto the beetle. How many checks do you want me to make?
We'll go with 4.
Oh, okay.
We'll go with 1 an hour.
I was going to say, if Kudra wants to climb, I have.
No.
Nope. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no, I'm on the ground the first time.
I was going to say, if Kudra wants to climb, I give him the climbing equipment from my pack.
He's just gonna sort of jog and take the path. He's not good at climbing.
I'm probably on the ground.
Yes, after a fair while, you do manage to fall off on a double nat 1.
That's the first check.
I'm aware. It was about an hour in.
Yep.
Alright, well, I'm just using pittons and rope so I don't go splat.
Yeah, you don't need to make checks because you're making like safety points and everything, but you're only going at half movement speed. So it's gonna take you like the full like 4 to 4 and a bit hours to climb.
It's okay. It's still faster than the road.
Because even if you do fail, you only fall like 10 feet and then start climbing up again.
If I didn't have that damn crit one.
I need Jess to roll a
Interesting.
dexterity saving throw as Raymond, Peter, and the beetle
Yep.
see her fall.
Yep. Probably
No, I'm with
splat.
Haley.
Yeah, you still see her because you're flying away from the cliff.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
you
true.
have, you have
Probably go
line of
splat.
sight.
I probably go splat. It's fine.
So
Oh,
the beetle
God.
hits a rock and Serena, who's holding onto the blanket, the blanket just entirely slips off the beetle. And as she scrambles for the edge, she catches rock after rock that just crumble away and pull away. Because what class are you? What armor are you wearing?
I'm not wearing full plate.
No, I'm still asking. I'm trying to work out how much you weigh.
I'm light armor, I believe, or medium. I'm chainmail shirt. I don't know. Hang on. Give me a sec. Where the fuck do I find that?
Trent, I will answer you in a momentarily.
Cool.
How far am I from her?
You have armor on, James.
Let me check.
I don't think I have armor.
Chainmail, which is heavy armor.
It's heavy. I thought
It's
it was
the
medium.
no chain shirt is medium. Chainmail is the entry level heavy armor.
Okay, so I'm splat. That's
So
cool.
you catch rocks and they just keep breaking off.
Yeah, I'm splat.
Can I finish?
No,
We'll just come back to you then.
that's fine.
I was trying to finish so we could actually move on, and you kept interrupting me. I'm not playing this game tonight. So it takes a couple hours. The others continue to climb up. To answer your question, Trent, you are not aware that they have arrived at the mountain.
I'd like to
Okay,
say
cool.
that when I get around about 100 feet away, I would like to send my owl ahead to kind of scout out the entrance and
Yep.
whatnot.
Over the course, once you start scouting the entrance, it's a very big, dark opening. There is no natural light inside, which isn't a hindrance for your owl. It has dark vision. It seems like a very mundane cave entrance. How far do you wish to take your owl inside? Or are you just scouting the immediate entrance?
A little bit inside. Not like super far in, but like, I don't know.
You can see the entrance from where it is.
Yeah, like I'd take it in a little bit, probably like, just trying to think feet wise.
50 feet?
Yeah, probably something like that, yeah. I'd have to get 50 feet closer to do that, but yeah.
Well, no, your familiar can travel as far away from you as you want it to. You just can't use the sight through familiar past 100 feet.
Fair.
So
I can't
your familiar can go like a mile away from you if you want it to.
Fair. Kind of trying to keep it like within range for me to be able to communicate with
yeah.
it. And
Then you move 50 feet and keep your familiar just to that edge.
Yeah.
yeah.
Moving roughly, so you can see 50 feet in, the large tunnel does stay there, but there are a few small split-off paths.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of the ring reference. What do your elf eyes see?
Because they don't see the curvature of the earth.
Yeah. God. I will relay this information to who I can't remember who's with me.
Me.
Yes. I will relay this information.
People just go quiet, or did my
I'm
headset stop?
counting.
No, we're quiet.
Everyone's pretty quiet.
Oh, good.
Jess, to
You're
answer,
not quick.
to answer you from before, you arrive about a half hour after the rest of the party, after suffering 39 points of bludgeoning damage from your fall.
Okay.
After you fall 140 feet.
Okay. Can I half it? Because I have half thing for, I think, damage resistance.
Damage resistance to what?
Never mind. It's the wrong thing. Doesn't matter. It's the wrong one.
Yeah. Other character that ability only kicks in once you're at half health.
Okay. Oh, never mind. Probably won't save me.
What? Your charisma bonus of plus what? No, it doesn't get you above 15. Unless your bonus to your save goes above 5 to get you to a 15, it does not half the damage. But you arrive about half an hour after Haley.
How much damage? 39.
39 damage.
Okay. Whatever. Yeah, I don't care for the damage.
Yeah. There's like a handful of small side paths, but the main path goes on within 50 to 60 feet.
Yeah.
And you can't see much more than that because it's a series of turns without going further. What?
Central thing.
No. Not due to any lack of mechanics, due to a lack of opportunity. Is my answer.
Okay.
So yeah, being the first one there, Haley. Do you proceed to wait for the others, or do you carry on further in?
I will wait.
As you wait, Peter arrives roughly the same time as you. The beetle arrives shortly around the same time as you, and just
Wouldn't the beetle have been there first? She said that because the beetle has a 40 climb speed.
yes. So you actually the beetle actually got there before you and just went straight into the cave.
Fair.
It's got dark vision.
Raymond arrives after about 20 minutes, and then Jess probably arrives after about another further 20 minutes after that.
You can go without me. You guys don't need to wait for me.
It depends on how much the party decides to wait. And Kujiro arrives at around the same time Raymond does.
Fair. When other people arrive, I would ask where our dragon friend is. Or dragonborn friend.
Last I saw, they were falling down the cliff.
You did actually see me fall.
No, Haley didn't.
You said she did. You
No, I
said
didn't.
her and Peter.
No,
If Peter saw
It's
me
Raymond and Peter.
I said Raymond and
Okay,
Peter, because
whatever.
Raymond was climbing alongside you on a rope and pitten,
Whatever.
and Peter was flying. Haley was going zigzaggy up the mountain. Same with Kujiro, which is why they didn't see you.
Okay, whatever. I thought you said Haley.
No,
first,
I
then Raymond,
said
sorry.
Peter because he's flying with Haley.
Okay.
So yes, as Peter said when you ask, the last he saw, they were tumbling down the mountain.
They weren't that high up, so I'm pretty sure they survived.
That is good. I would like at this point I've probably retracted my owl. Come back to me. I'd like to send it down to kind of just see if she's like nearby.
Around this time, Peter, that you're doing this, the owl flutters off and looks down, and that's where you get a sense that she's only about 20 minutes, half an hour off by the time you're looking at this, because she fell, and I'm assuming continued to walk up normally, not having ropes and pittons and the like.
I actually do.
Well then you get there like only a handful of minutes after Raymond.
Fair.
Because you just cheat and use his ropes.
Well, no, because he began retracting his rope as he went, but she fell an hour into the trek with the beetle and only fell 140 feet, and the beetle was faster than Raymond, so she probably fell only 50 or 100 feet behind Raymond. And then by the time she got up, got everything situated and everything, she's only a couple of minutes behind him, which means she still gets there before Kujiro, or about the same time as Kujiro.
Cool.
At which point, everyone is assembled out the front of the cave entrance.
I don't wait for the others. I say see ya, and I'm going in. Like I just see ya and start walking in. No fear.
I would like
No
everyone
consent.
who has scaled the mountain to make a perception check. You have advantage if you're carrying a substantial amount of metal.
So my armor.
Yeah, Raymond, you don't even have to make a check because you're wearing plate.
Okay. This actually doesn't sound good.
I just
You qualify for advantage because you're wearing chainmail.
I know that Mikey thinks it's fairer, but I just hate roll 20 because sometimes I have nights like this where it just fucking hates me.
James.
Yes.
Did you want the beetle to roll or
No,
just
the beetle is actually incapable of making a roll on this, as the beetle does not meet the requirement.
Okay.
Everyone except for Haley notices that we'll go down the list. Yes, I understand that. That we'll start with Raymond and we'll work down. Raymond, the closer you've gotten up the mountain, the more you've noticed that like every time you go to put your hand to the mountain, it's clapped there. It's seeming to be drawn to the very rock beneath the mountain.
Oh crap!
I think Raymond's on GM roll because I can't see his roll.
No, Raymond didn't have to roll because he's wearing plate. I told him that.
Yeah.
That's why it was. If you're wearing a substantial amount of metal, you had advantage. Raymond's wearing a full plate suit. He just automatically passes this check. And as you've reached the top, Raymond, think Legend of Zelda Iron Boots. Clang,
Yeah, clang,
clang.
clang, clang.
Jess, as you've begun climbing, you've noticed the chain on your chainmail shift and just be pulled towards the mountain more and more as you've climbed.
Cool.
Haley, the various amounts of metal on you, you've not wearing enough to notice, to have noticed this. And Peter, with a 28, you've noticed that, like, as you've been flying further up the mountain, your rapier has slowly twisted to the blade to be pointing continuously at the mountain. Roughly
Fun.
towards this cave entrance.
Can
Yay.
I do a history check with that information and the or a knowledge check for the dragon thingy?
Sure.
'Cause the dragon-
Intelligence check, not a history check.
I was thinking knowledge, but I don't know what.
Knowledge isn't a thing in 5th edition.
Nature, maybe?
I'll allow nature. All the knowledges from 3.5 were broken down into a few things. Something around here is magnetic. It's not uncommon for large deposits of iron ore to become magnetically charged.
Yeah, anyway, as soon as I'm up the mountain, I just walk straight in. I don't even wait for the
Zarina
others.
I
just sort
was
of
going to say, while we're waiting the last few minutes for the others to come up, can I lean over to Navera and go, like, I literally point at the sword and go, I know magnets do this, but could it be the dragon?
Possibly. Can't say I've noticed it happening, but yes, it could be. That does make
Is there a dragon that does this?
Did I
not
just get a
that
candy save?
I'm aware of.
Okay. It's weird.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So after the 5-10 minutes that it takes Jess to get there, she just walks straight in. So he just walks past everyone and goes clunk, 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 clunk.
And I get there before
You do
Cujo,
notice
don't
that any of you that have travelled with her for a substantial amount of time, which is everyone that's paid attention, that her chainmail seems to be rustling less. It's not doing the natural thing where it shifts up and down. You get the rustle of every step, as if something is holding it taut.
Definitely
Okay.
something doing that.
Definitely.
So do we wait for Kujiro? So I saw him behind us.
He arrives like maybe a minute after Jess, or a minute or two after Jess, because he's got a higher land speed, so he's making it up the.
Oh, as I walk in, as I feel like I get like closer in, I say hello in Draconic.
Hello. Nothing.
Okay.
Now, once
As
Kujiro says, I guess we go in.
as the party proceeds to travel in, and you're only maybe 100 feet behind Serena at this point.
Also, I have an ever bright lantern that I'm using for light source.
You begin to walk in, and you start hearing a familiar tone. It's the tone of Lubash's lute.
Ooh, friend. I send my owl ahead.
Okay.
As you start traveling through, Lubash and Ibli, you hear your friends are coming.
Okay.
Fun.
I can feel the metal on their armor heading into the cave.
Definitely
James
good at
Gunn,
that.
voice alterer.
And as the
That's
party
awesome.
proceeds to travel in, deeper and deeper, after probably close to a mile,
Every now and again, I just say hello in Draconic. By the way.
Are you shouting it or are you saying it? There's a difference here.
I will shout it.
After about the 5th or 6th times you shout it, Lubash and Ibli, you do hear Serena shouting hello in Draconic.
I don't speak Draconic, so I just hear another dragon.
Pretty much.
Doesn't speak it either.
At which
Oh,
point,
fun.
around the and time that it travels into and the others hear it, booming back down the passageway. Welcome to my abode. I have been waiting for you.
I shout back, in Draconic.
I would like to point out the message came back in common.
I shout. I don't care. I shout in Draconic. My friend's okay. Especially the little frog one.
I leaned over to Navera. Do you know what she's saying?
I don't think so. Let me just double check my character sheet.
What's a
Am I
character
close?
sheet?
Am I
No.
close enough to hear your question? Because I'm walking in with you guys.
We were like 30 seconds behind her, Raymond.
Lean back and start giving you a translation.
Ah,
Fun. Why is she saying it like that when the voice spoke to us like this?
Don't know.
Do you speak Draconic, Raymond?
I speak Draconic. I speak Common, Draconic, Giant, Primordial, and Kiori.
Of course you do.
Holy shit. It's a lot. It's a lot of language.
I know.
You must really get confused what the salt is sometimes in certain languages.
But yeah, I say in Draconic, are my friends okay? Is my frog friend okay?
You hear coming echoing back down the passageway. Your friends are unharmed. Step forwards and see for yourself.
I think you got the voice alteration the wrong way around.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I got my keybinds backwards.
How do I unmute you? James, you're muted on my thing. There you go.
Also, Jess has just realised that she hasn't heard what we've all been hearing so far.
Yeah.
Booming, echoing voice.
I guess we keep walking.
I'll keep walking.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah. So after a few hundred more feet, you arrive at this scene. Yeah, I set my keybinds up so I could switch them on the fly, and I've got my keybinds backwards.
No, you got a different dragon this time.
Yeah, I managed to upgrade the token to something more fitting.
Ooh.
Thematic.
It's bigger and more fuck off scary.
Yeah, I don't really like the look of being hit by its tail.
Allow me
And
to,
spiky club.
allow me to just drop everyone onto the map.
Is that a skeleton I see?
Probably.
There's a few of them. Get used to it.
I'm going to put an aura on Peter just so he's visible.
Okay. Oh no, I've got a very dark character.
Yeah, what it is yeah, your character is very dark, and because you don't have a border on it, which I would recommend going and reusing the token maker to remake it at some point.
Yeah, I'll probably go redo it.
He just blends into the dark rock. Navera. We don't need a Tauren. We don't need that one. We need this one.
Don't put a Lubash and Ibly down. We're already
No,
there.
I saw that. I'm looking for a Cordero and a Serena. So you all arrive, and yes, this is the scene you see playing out before you. with Lubash sitting on a rock, strumming away, and Ibli slowly sorting through the loot pile.
Haha, Serena is
Where are we?
Yeah,
Bottom.
where are we? Are we?
Can't see any of us.
We can't see ourselves.
Because because I did
You put us in DM layer.
I'll put you on the GM layer.
Nice.
Jess, you might want to get rid of your alternate ego.
Oh, it's because I put one down for Jess, which ended up on the GM layer, and then Jess put one down for herself. I didn't realize that I had this one still set for the GM layer, probably when I was swapping some stuff around.
So I wish to just walk up to him if I can. Do I need to make a thingy check?
No, he is
Okay,
not
cool.
projecting any sort of fear aura.
Friends!
I walk up and say, "So, what is your name?"
Hey,
Klaus, James.
I'm aware.
Okay.
World Seer.
My name, little one, is Klaus Morg Ertel.
Huh.
Cool.
You would recognize, being the one person who actually speaks Draconic, that his name roughly translates to, let me find the freaking list I
James. Raymond speaks Draconic too, apparently.
had. Aha.
So that kind of throws a thing in the thing for me.
Meh.
What?
History. Where is... I need the thing that has all of the namey things on it.
I would
Namey
look at him
things.
and say,
That's
"What
pretty
kind
cool.
of dragon are you? You are very different."
First things first, let me tell you what his name translates to.
Okay.
Because that's something that will give you an idea for the two people who already speak Draconic. Control F. A-L-A-U-T. Because I've...
Ibley's looking through his loot pile.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, Ibley's not looking through it. Ibley's actually sorting it.
Okay. That's not a thing that you normally do, but whatever.
Ibley asked politely. Ibley was a bit bewildered by how much there was.
Also, Iblis smart enough not to steal from a dragon.
James, I've just sent you a new token if you want to use it
I'll grab it in a minute.
on Facebook.
James, is mind speaky thing a thing dragons can do?
Some very, very old ones.
Okay. Never mind. The thingy is all ruined.
No, you just need to workshop around it now.
I speak Draconic?
Raymond, backstory. Yes, you speaking Draconic messes with something that I wanted to do.
But does it though?
Yes. Yes, because backstory that I don't want people to know. That
And-
people don't know.
Okay.
While this is going on,
Yeah.
I would like to ask Lubash if he's okay.
Lubash fine. Lubash has loot.
Fair enough.
For reference, for those that speak Draconic, his name is pretty much a one-for-one translation for Forgotten Iron Rumble.
Forgotten Iron Rumble.
The direct translation for how he says it is Iron Rumble Forgotten, but with cadences of, I'm just going to basically say how names are interpreted, it's got certain words rearranged.
Enough.
What have you guys been doing for the last 3 days?
Entertaining. Keeping company. Making friends. Making family.
I look at the dragon and
You just see like an eyebrow go up at the word making family.
Yep. One moment, Jess is talking.
I look at the dragon and say, "Are you an iron dragon?"
At that point, I would like everyone who has not been here for 3 days to make an intelligence check, including you.
Intelligence check.
Intelligence, history, arcana, nature, any of those.
27 Arcana.
I know nothing.
Wow.
Peter.
Yeah.
But Peter, iron dragons aren't a thing. Serena, you've never heard of an iron dragon. You've heard of gold, bronze, silver, copper, no iron. 27 with arcana. Dragons don't come in iron. Again, same thing. Like, you know all of the chromatic and metallics. Iron's not a color of dragon. But this also doesn't look like anything you've seen in books.
I still ask my question.
I believe your friends can answer that if you would trust them more than my answers.
No, I wish for your answer.
Then yes, I am an iron dragon. As much of that as you would know what that means. At least his responses are always in common. So I don't know if Serena is like talking in Draconic, but all of his responses back are always in common.
Doesn't matter. Raymond knows what I'm saying anyway, so
I'm pointing out because he's aware Lubash and the others Lubash and Ibli don't speak Draconic. So him saying your friends can answer doesn't work if he says that in a language they don't understand.
I'm gonna mute you again because it's irritating. I unmuted you to hear what the others were raging about, and it's actually more irritating. It's cool and all, but very irritating.
The other thing to remember is there's a good chance that because I'm in the same room, Jess is getting double speak from it.
Yeah, definitely.
So she's probably getting the modified version and the normal version.
I look at him and say, with all due respect, and I use his name in Draconic, I believe you. Who left?
Trent.
Brent, where'd you go?
What?
Where'd you go?
You've timed out of general chat.
Which is funny because that's never happened before.
I look at him and say, I believe you, but even coming from Kubara, that is right, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. I've never heard of
My
an
Discord's
iron
playing up.
dragon.
Fun.
Don't we just put the speaker in?
No. I don't know this issue.
The fact that you do not know that we exist is exactly what the others
Oh my God,
want.
space.
I look and like pull out my book and say, "May I please draw your picture and like write about you in my book? This is my own personal book."
Hey, I'm back.
Certainly. Your friend here has been getting many details and I believe has already attempted to compose a song about me over the last few days.
I look and say, "Where can I sit? Just anywhere away from your loot?"
Sit anywhere you like within here. At this point, you notice that several of the stone pillars are carved of various levels of iron through wrought and cast, and a lot of them are made into chairs equivalent size for a medium.
Okay, I start drawing him in my book. Write his name. I ask the basic questions of like, how old are you? Blah blah blah.
I'm not going to worry about turning the modulator on to answer these. Going by basic questions, I'd like a small list. But for the
Yeah.
age one, he gives you an ambiguous answer of old enough. Old enough to have seen the rise and fall of kingdoms.
I was going to say, hearing this, Aaron immediately perks up, goes closer, and says,
Oh,
"If you're that old, you must have many stories. Can we share stories?"
I have hundreds, thousands of stories, some dating back to the demonic invasion and the wars that were fought upon this land.
Yeah, I'm
Sure,
dropping out a couple of words when you're using the modulator, by
Yes,
the way.
Sam.
Sam.
fair. I'll stop using it then. It's only on a free version. I wanted to try it out for tonight to see if it worked. If it's dropping words, I'm not going to worry about using it because my recording's probably picking it all up. But if it's screwing with Discord, eh. Yeah, he basically goes on to say he's got hundreds, if not thousands, of stories dating all the way back to the demonic invasion and the wars that were fought around then. For anybody's reference, that is anybody who is proficient with history,
Yes.
the
Proficient with
demons invaded
history.
nearly 1,000,000 years ago.
Old boy.
Having proficient with history, being proficient with history, I look at him and say,
He fucking old.
I look at him and say, "You're like." And then she kind of stops and looks and says, "Yes, you are old enough." She kind of has that kid like, "You are," and then just like against insulting the dragon.
I am old enough that counting an age has become redundant.
I look at him and say, "Do you know much about the dragon prophecies?"
A bit.
I would like to walk over to here at that point.
I'm assuming you've all basically got free roam at this point. He turns. I know a bit. I've studied a fair amount. I don't have access to the scriptures for the prophecy anymore, but I'm happy to divulge any hints that I know that I studied before.
Okay.
As your friends will tell you, I am not exactly in a position to easily gain access to the draconic knowledges.
You got what's in his head.
Out of character. Can dragons read common? Like they can speak it, but
Dragons generally can by the time they're an adult. This guy's like close to 1,000,000 years old, is what he's telling you. There's a good chance he knows how to read common. There's a good chance if he's not lying to you, he can read languages that no longer exist.
I actually say, I kind of like I've been sitting off to the side drawing him. I say, can I please come up and have a very close look at your scales to get a good picture?
He just sort of gestures closer.
I look at him with a tilted head and I ask him, "You can see the lake from here, yes?"
When I leave the cave, yes.
Have you seen anything weird in the lake lately?
By what definition do you mean weird?
I
Pray note, you are talking to a dragon that is not supposed to exist.
When I hear this, I kind of walk back around the front. I pull out the paperwork because I'm the one that has the paperwork, and like hold it up to him.
The paperwork is very vague. It just says there's a thing at the lake, basically.
Yeah, I just say vague by human vague. The Kenneth weird. I don't know. This. We've got a job to investigate the weird, strange happenings at Silver
Something
Lake.
that would threaten human habitat.
I believe I saw a hydra there the last couple of years.
That could do it.
Huh. Yep.
Put the paperwork away. I look at him and say, "Do you mind if I touch your scales to see what they feel like?"
At which point, he gestures over to a small mound where there is a handful of discarded, slightly tarnished scales. You may take one of those if you wish.
Thank you.
It's a handful of pounds of scales. Most of them are chipped or scratched or damaged. They're not in like good value for what you would consider like selling or making anything. It looks like it's either a molt or scales that have come off as a result of an injury.
I look through and find the best one.
It's still fairly dinged up. They are heavy. Each one weighs about as much as somewhere between a dagger to a short sword. Each one weighs the same weight as if they were made of steel or iron.
I turn and look at him and say, "Are you magnetic?"
Myself, no. But being around this area long enough, the ore has intensified in its natural magnetic properties.
That
Ex-
explains it.
Explains the clanging whenever I walk.
You will note that it is stopped. The clanging has stopped as you've walked into this room. It seems to, by his inferation, that the clanging is only when there is iron ore near the surface, and there seems to not be much in this room. Although if you go near any of the wrought iron chairs or anything, you feel the same magnetic pull.
Ooh, Mr. World's here.
Yes, little one?
Those two have the things.
The things. I'm trying to think of what you're referring to.
Pointing to Raymond and Haley.
Me?
Oh,
What do I have?
Right.
Oh God, what did you do?
He just turns to both of you. Your friend informs me you both bear marks of the arcane upon your bodies.
Oh, yes.
Just lift my helmet up.
I just show him my arm.
He leans down. Neither of these are the signs of draconic bloodlines. They are different in ways. Interesting.
Dragon marks?
Wait.
That is roughly what he's talking about, yes. One is naturally manifesting, the other, I believe this is self-inscribed. Referring to you, Haley.
Yep.
I look at the dragon and say, "You know where the magic comes from?"
I know exactly where the magic for the dragon marks come from.
Oh, you're talking dragon marks. I thought you could tell me where my magic comes from.
What magic do you pertain to have?
I don't know. It just happens when I do stuff.
Out of character, you're a warlock, right?
No, I'm a wild mage sorcerer.
Ah, fair. I would have to
With
know.
0 in Arcana.
I would have to know what type of magic you wield to be able to give you any hints to where it may come from. What
I
happens when you
point
use your
away
magic?
from everyone and like concentrate, and I fire off chaos bolt.
Oh, you are a congregation of the chaos within the weave. Your magic is a result of misuse and harm to the very fabric of magic. More commonly so due to the event of great sorrow that happened a few cycles ago.
So,
The morning.
not good magic?
Your magic is not inherently good or evil. What it is a physical representation of the chaos and damage being removed from the weave. If anything, your magic would be seen as a force to heal it, taking out the unstable and unleashing it into a physical form and expending it before it can manifest into creatures of darkness or disastrous wild events.
Okay, I think I understand.
James,
He looks very doubtful.
do I need to roll a check to draw the picture?
Yeah,
Can I show him the picture?
sure.
I show him the picture.
Because you're not attempting to make it like artistic quality to sell, you don't need to make a check.
I show him the picture.
Because the only time I would ask for someone to roll a performance check or a dexterity check to make a painting is if you were intending to inscribe it for someone else to interpret or to sell. Because then it would be how easy it is for them to understand or what it would value at. Because you're drawing it for your own visual reference, it's the same as looking at something you've drawn and going, I meant it to be this. You can infer the details that are missing naturally.
So I show him the picture.
This is probably the first time in a very long time that I have had my image inscribed. It is not a bad job.
I look at him and say, we will have to go at some point too soon.
As I told your friends, you are welcome to stay as long as you like, especially if your friends wish to catch you up on the information I have passed on to them.
Is there any way I can communicate with you when I'm away from here?
That would require the spell Sending. Are you capable of casting that?
No.
Other than that, I have given your friends here an item to allow sudden...
I pull out my wand!
You see Lubash holding a magic wand.
Not sure if that's a good thing, but okay.
Does it do?
Fair enough, Trent.
Yeah.
You see Lubash is also not wearing as much armor as normal. And any of you with a keen enough eye has noticed that Lubash's breastplate has been added to the horde.
Yeah, I got Sentry.
Didn't he wear a suit?
I wore a breastplate underneath it.
Those
So
of you
I was
who
a little
trouble,
chunkier.
whenever he's like taken the suit off to rest or after battles before
I
mending it,
don't know if
he
I
has
can
worn a
even
breastplate.
get Sending.
No, you're a paladin, you don't get Sending. It's an arcane spell.
Yeah, like wizards have and all that.
Can I get a wand of it?
Probably.
It's typically a stone, though.
There are Sending stones. That is the magic item from one to another. But you can probably, for a bit more, find a wand of Sending. It would only have probably like 1 or 2 uses per day, though.
James,
You hear?
I'm gonna be extremely vague. I'm gonna go sit in a corner all by myself, writing stuff. I'm gonna write the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna ask Mr. Cliffhanger the thing, but I'm gonna write above it, please do not speak in common or draconic.
Uh-huh.
Do you speak any other language?
Yeah, no, never mind. Can't do it.
I was gonna say, I look at the dragon, like, crane him a neck and say, this is starting to hurt. Are you able to make yourself any smaller? If you can.
He just, with a wave of his hand, shrinks and Give me a moment. Bink. Bink, 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 bink.
Oh,
Appears in front of you in purple robes.
I can't see that. So I'm just...
He's like one square. He's like 2 squares across and 1 square up from you.
Yeah, no, I said I can't. I
Huh.
can see it, but I can't see clearly what it is.
Yeah, because he's very, very small.
Is that a human?
Human-ish.
Human.
There are still
Wait.
draconic traits. Like he has some scales. It's similar to if any of you have met a dragon blood sorcerer.
I draw that. I draw his constitution thing. I'd show him.
Is this form a little bit easier to converse with?
I would say so.
yeah, it doesn't hurt the neck now. And we can
Understandable.
share stories.
Understandable. This is a more relaxed form of what I normally assume when I leave the cave.
I show him the picture. That I've drawn of him.
This is the first time I've had this form inscribed upon paper. As normally this form is not suited for the outside. When I'm taking an alternate form, it is normally to hide what I am.
I look and say, "Are you the only Iron Dragon?"
No. Not. There are not many of us, but I am not the last.
Why do we not know about you?
Because the figureheads behind the kingdoms do not wish to be known.
You are not. Okay, this is gonna sound bad because I know that dragons. I look and say, "You are not evil. Do not seem evil, bad, like some dragons can."
While I am not, the reason I am estranged from my kind is due to a difference in opinion. Not all Iron Dragons would be as accepting of people walking into their lair, or even knowing of our existence.
I kind of look and say, "So don't show people the picture."
Show people the picture all you wish, none will believe you more than likely. Server interruption. Good thing we're not in combat. Can everyone still hear me on Discord?
Hello.
Ooh, that's not good. We've lost internet. I'm gonna have to go back through this. We've lost internet. Technical difficulties. Da. Not gonna stop the recording because that'll be a giant pain in the ass to stitch them together.
Yeah, I can't join the chat.
Yeah. That's my phone going, Discord, something has happened. Yay for things having gone. Why does this always happen during the suspenseful moments?
Yeah, I just have Peter say internet, I guess.
Yeah. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Let's give that a minute and see how that goes.
Because I wanted to ask him about the prophecy, but I can't fucking.
he's trying to be friends with her, but she's just like,
We return.
Someone's back.
Jess is loading in, but
Fun.
Discord's
were just-
probably taking a minute to boot on Jess's thing. I just legitimately got in. So there you
Ah,
are, Jess. You're back. So I'm going to have to spend like 10 minutes editing out that time in the middle of the video because I didn't pause the recording.
Well, what a time to come back to.
Yeah, I didn't pause the recording because I don't want to have to stitch the video together.
fair
Yeah.
enough. So,
What was the last thing you heard? Because I don't know when I dropped because I dropped in the middle of a monologue.
I can't remember.
Same.
He'd
I was
just
gonna say-
swapped to that form, and he had just asked him if he could share story and stuff.
You had just spoken to Jess's character about this being the first time he's been drawn in that form.
Yep.
And then I was going to see if I could sit down and talk to him and share stories.
Okay,
about my
so I
adventures
noticed I noticed we dropped basically at this right after that. Then
Yeah.
I asked why we didn't know about Iron Dragon.
yeah, Jess basically asked why she didn't know about Iron Dragons, and the response to that was the figureheads behind the kingdoms do not want to be known.
Interesting. But yes. No, I wanted to talk to him about if he knew any stories about what the avian people call rulers of the sky, which are basically the giant rock birds of the islands.
What was that? Sorry, I was reading quickly what Bailey had written into
Rockbirds.
Rockbirds. So rocks as in the monster rock?
Yes.
Okay, that's clarification for me. I know a little bit of the creatures called rocks. Large birds, eagles. I never bothered to look into why they got so big. They're vicious, though. Very territorial. Much as a creature that size you would expect.
They're the rulers of the skies where I come from.
That is not surprising.
So the hatchlings sometimes attack the village. We had to fight them off.
Again, not surprising. Villages are probably used as training hunting grounds before they grow too big and start hunting larger things.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, basically, I want to sit there and when I get the chance, I want to hear like some of his old stories.
As he said, he's happy for you guys to stay as long as you want. The thing to remember is Mikey is still at the base of the mountain.
Is he though?
That's a point, actually. I don't know. I'll have to talk.
Because it was 4 hours getting up here.
I'll have to talk to Mikey during the week if you guys don't go back down before the end of the session. Yep.
So Ibli's got the pot on the go, and
Yes, I did notice that. Ibli has begun cooking.
I do the thing that we talked about.
Yeah, so Jess, I could explain it next point. Serena walks off to one side and begins writing in her little book for 10-15 minutes. Does anyone else have any more questions for him?
I would like to tell him that it is an honor to meet him.
It is an honor to meet such noble adventurers that do not seem as perturbed by my being or attack me on sight. Normally I do not travel in such a obvious form when I'm out, but I was currently being hunted, so I required my full concentration on escape.
Hearing that, Aaron just looks at him and goes, "What would hunt you?"
Oh, I know.
I have already told your friends.
It was a silver dragon, or a white dragon, or a dragon that was the color of the sky.
It was most likely a silver or a white dragon. It blended in with the clouds and attacked me on my way back.
Can I do
Nice.
a thingy?
What thingy?
Do I know about silver or white dragons?
They're common, so yes.
Do I know if they're bad?
One is good, one is bad.
Silver is good, but
Yes.
white is bad.
Metal dragons generally good. Color dragons generally bad.
And now's where my meta knowledge is like, I want to say something, but I'm not going to.
Serena pipes up when he says, like, good to not have people attack him. I say, anyone who attacks a dragon is a fool.
Yes, but
Anyone who attacks a dragon unprovoked is a fool.
yes, but you'd be surprised how many people are looking to make a name for themselves. It's why I normally travel in a polymorphed form similar to this, but even less conspicuous when traveling. But I was outed over in the village and had to make a quick escape. It happens from time to time. So what are we having tonight, little one?
Whatever's left. Something
Understandable.
fresh.
If we're running out and you decide to stay any longer, I will go and fetch something shortly.
Mr. Worldseer, Ibli has a question though.
Certainly, little friend.
From what you asked of me and friend, how Ibli do that with pointy stick?
With lots of conviction and tenacity.
You use a create poison, don't you, Ibli?
Yeah, but
Use that. Cook them a meal.
Ibli feel not equipped.
Oh, but that's why we have our friends. At this point, I'd like to talk loud enough so that even Jess in the corner can hear. And it'll be like, so we were asked to do a thing, but we're a bit ill-equipped. Would you help?
I look,
What
at,
thing?
I look at the dragon and say, what do you require of us? And
Well,
isn't your mountain dangerous?
well,
Our other friends stayed down there with a horse
Well.
and a cart, with 2 horses, a cart, and a wagon.
The base of the mountain is no more dangerous than the standard roads for an adventurer. And as for what I asked your friends to do, that is the beginning of a very long conversation. For the short of it, I have requested your friends perform an assassination for me, in the crudest of terms.
Against who?
A
the patriarch of the Dragonmark houses.
A patriarch of any of the dragon-marked houses.
Okay.
I already said yes.
I'm starting to feel like he's not a good dragon.
Can I ask why?
Because the other king dragons need to learn their place. Other Ferris dragons. Every dragon mark's lineage leads back to the blood of a Ferris dragon. Each one controlling a dragon-marked house and through it a nation. The patriarch is not what they seem. Every 30 to 50 years, or in some case longer for those pretending to be an elf, the patriarch changes their shape and takes the place of one of their children as the patriarch. The leaders of some dragon-marked houses are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years old.
I, at this point, look and say, so they're all dragons pretending.
Did you think the power such as the dragon marks could manifest on its own? It is the blood.
Yes.
It is the blood of true dragons, the blood of king dragons, that causes them to manifest.
And that is why you're estranged, because you don't agree with it?
No, I am estranged because I don't believe in forcing all of you humanoid kinds into servitude and destroying whatever does not agree with my opinion.
Sounds like they're trying to be gods. I don't like this.
They're not.
So
they're not
if all
trying
dragon
to.
marks come from your kind, does that mean you have a dragon mark?
Funny you should ask that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
No, it's not they are trying to be gods. They believe themselves to be gods. They've been around since the time where the gods walked the plains.
Well,
They see themselves
have that.
above everything on the mortal plane. One of
At
them,
this, you
one of them,
just hear Aaron scream in Primordial.
one of them in one of,
Same.
yeah, one of them in particular sees himself on equal terms to the gods. And last I heard, it did not go well when someone opposed him.
Saddening, right?
See, Aaron's actually religious, so saying something views itself on the same level as a god is kind of yeah.
Hmm.
That's an interesting conundrum.
I'm not sure how Serena would feel about this.
You've also left the cleric out of this conversation.
I'm really not sure how I would feel about this.
On
That's killing a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
on Mikey's character not being here, I would like to send him a message with my sending spell.
Uh-huh. You have 25 words.
I know, I don't know what I'm saying yet, but I will
You
work
can
that
send
out.
it at any
Down.
point. Feel free to write it out in a notepad and throw it in chat.
That's what I was going to do.
And text message it to Mikey.
He's going to come back, and this is going to be a massive lore dump next week for him.
Or maybe you should just like message Mikey directly.
Serena just
Confuse him.
looks at him and says, "No disrespect meant, and you can kick me out of your lair if you choose to, but I'm not sure how I feel about killing a dragon. I come from Kubara. I'm a dragonborn. We respect the dragons and the dragon prophecies, and I'm not doubting you. I'm just conflicted, and I'm sorry."
And
Serena.
Don't do it. We'll do it.
Serena.
Yes.
They ass, no good.
I understand, but there is more to it for me.
Even God bad. God bad.
No one being should have all that power.
I'm not going to judge you for that opinion. If anything, that proves that you are the right person to have been chosen. I have given your friends the option to back out of this job as well. It is what I would like to see happen, something that I am working towards, not something I'm going to force and give you an arbitrary time limit to do. I only wish to see them fall to free the humankinds from their control. I understand if you are unable to do this. I commend your reverence of the dragonkin. But the thing to remember, these dragons see you as less than dirt, a means to the end, and would quickly use your reverence and hesitation against your friends before even considering you worth their time.
You're an abomination to them.
Serena nods and just walks just up and just. Is there like a tunnel that offshoots from here?
There's several. There's the main ones from here actually go down to the mineral hot springs beneath.
She just up and walks.
Yep.
Should have jumped.
Lubash,
And just.
Yes, boy.
Sorry.
take over. Getting Serena.
Okay. I start doing the cooking.
Yep.
Stirring the pot, if you will.
So, back to my question.
Yes.
Do you have a dragon marked house? Or dragon mark?
I do not have a dragon marked house. Your friends actually asked me about this when they arrived. I am vaguely aware as to how they were manifested and created initially, but they were already created past my exile. But I've spent the last couple of days sifting through knowledge and thinking back on it, and I might be close to figuring out how to devise the creation of a new one. Because your friend Lubash here Asked me if I
Why?
had any way to pass on my abilities since I am the last of my line. For evident reasons. Being an exile does not quite lead to a family life.
I was going to say,
You're my family now.
Question: on my adventures,
Mm-hmm.
would I have heard of aberrant dragon marks?
Yes, yes, you would have. And if you mention those, Lubash or Kurf will bring up that was already something discussed, and that Kiev believes that aberrant dragon marks are other attempts at other bloodlines of dragon marks being created, or the mixing of dragon marks.
Okay.
He believes that aberrant dragon marks are basically just an incomplete version of proper dragon marks. Lesser dragons, normally the metallic and chromatics, attempting to create dragon marks within bloodlines. A close facsimile in ways. You're literally hitting all the points that were covered on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because these are common points.
Which, if anyone wishes to listen to what was said on Tuesday, the recording actually goes live at midnight.
Okay.
It's uploaded and scheduled. It'll actually go live way before we finish here tonight.
Okay,
not
fun.
Stopped when I walk off.
Hmm?
He doesn't stop me when I walk off.
No.
Okay.
He's giving you space. He understands you're having a moral crisis. He's old enough to see someone questioning their values. He's got exiled for questioning his values.
I look at him and I go, "You're good at magic, right?"
I like to believe myself adept, yes.
I unsling the scimitar. Can you make this smaller? None of us can.
I could make it smaller. I don't know if I could make it smaller in the longer duration.
Oh.
The trick would be making it permanently smaller. It was fairly easy through a pretty mundane spell to shrink it temporarily. But for me to shrink it permanently would take days, if not weeks at minimum. I would basically have to re-enchant the blade all over again.
Okay. I just sound downtrodden at it because I really want to use it. It's a cool sword.
Stupid moral crisis.
Hey Jess,
So
you now
think of
know
all
how
the
I
mad
felt
loots.
with Deline.
What, Trent?
I said just think of the mad loots.
Oh, I'm about to have an actual talk with Jess in character.
Yep.
I'm just waiting. Do we want to have it? Just have it here, or do I go?
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Essentially, Ibli goes after Serena, and once they're out of
Yep.
the main earshot of the cave, Ibli's just like, Ibli, understand, Serena can't kill Dwagon because like dragons, but Serena also understand these dragons not good.
I will have. Sorry, I put chocolate in my mouth.
Fun.
Nice timing.
I can keep talking if you want while you're reading.
No. Serena looks and says, I will have another chat with Mr. Worldseer. But right now I just need space. I will be back up in a minute, Ibli.
Ibli just has a skeptical look for a moment.
And please don't try to launch yourself or be launched at any more dragons. You scared me.
Not Ibli's fault.
You could have poisoned him.
No.
Technically, he did.
Anyway, I was going to say, while they're having that conversation, I look at the dragon and go, since you can't shrink it, do you have a sword you could swap for it?
I might be able to do that. Yeah.
So I'm just going to walk to the bottom of the tunnel and then walk back up.
Yep. He looks at the sword. Interesting make.
We got it off of a dead genie.
Does he throw a quick
Yeah,
side
no
glance
problem,
at
Haley.
Lubash?
Yeah. I'm assuming over 3 days Lubash would have gone over this.
Yeah.
I might have something in the treasure hoard comparable in a more compact size. He sort of chucks it to one side where it just clangs against one of the stone pillars. Clangs a few times and then magnetically sticks. He just sort of walks up onto the treasure hoard and starts looking around. And with a wave of his hand, another scimitar comes twirling out of the treasure and stops and flies into his hand. I believe this would be comparable. Takes it down, hands it over.
I take it.
It's a standard size scimitar. This is called the Wind Dancer's Blade. It is a +1 scimitar that deals an additional 1d6 slashing damage, and has the special unique ability of being able to once a day send out a single blade of air in a 5-foot wide, 120-foot line.
Can you just let me know when I get back?
Can I get that in a item sheet thing?
Sure, I'll write it down a little bit later. Basically, you can make a ranged line attack for the 2d6 plus modifier. Hitting everything in a 5-foot line. It's functionally the same as the scimitar you just had, with the line effect, but slightly less damage.
And non-elemental.
Non-elemental and not huge.
Yep.
So effective to say, safe to say that like Ibli's back now.
Yeah, Ib will be back, and probably in like 2 or 3 minutes, Serena will return.
Ibli's like, huh? We can trade with Dragon.
Your friend offered me a large sword that seemingly was unable to be used by the party, and I gave them something I believe to be comparable.
Oh, Ibli have crossbow that Ibli terrible with. Too big.
Understandable. It does not surprise me that you are encountering items too big for you, my little friend. I have already spoken to your friends, and there are several items from the Horde I did wish to grant to you all once you arrived, as tokens of goodwill. It's probably around this time that you would arrive, Jess, given the fact you only were walking to the bottom and back up.
I walk up to him.
Mm-hmm.
If we do this, will it wreck the dragon prophecies?
Not the prophecies. No.
It will not destroy the dragon bloodlines, the true dragon bloodlines. I understand that they will be gone, but it will not destroy them all.
I said to your friends, I actually have no idea how this may affect the dragon marks. There has already been at least one dragon mark that Raymond's net's gone.
Yeah.
He just messaged me. There's already been at least one dragon marked house that has vanished. I do not know if it was a complete removal or if it was a... Yes, Peter, basically. Or if it was just the destruction of the patriarch led to its downfall. I would believe that the magics within the blood would not be extinguished just by the simplicity of taking out the patriarchs. I believe the dragon marked house that has already vanished was due to more infighting and likely genocide.
Nice.
Or else I would not request this. I would do the dirty work myself. I would not risk forcing the genocide of a magical line upon someone willingly. But if you are still having second guesses about what lengths these dragons will go to, I will just say the same as I said to your friends. The catastrophe that happened 6 years ago, that ended the last war, things like that do not just happen on a whim.
I will have more questions for you before I will agree to this.
And I will answer any that I am able to.
But for right now, I think I just need to think. And pray, unless you have an issue with that.
I have no issue with anything you wish to do.
I go sit in a corner and pray, and
Yep.
she's also just gonna think of like every question she can possibly think of to ask him.
Yep.
So I will give you that list.
Okie dokie. He just sits down in one of his chairs. Dinner shall be served shortly.
Serena pops her head up a little bit after sitting there and says, "Do you have rainbow corn?"
No, is that a treasure or are you referring to a food?
We used in Wormwood.
Mostly what I have is what I've either bought at the local markets or acquired strategically from the nearby farmers.
Serena just looks and says, "It's a thing from Cuba. It's a food. It's Crisis Miss Home."
I have a weird mushroom. Holding up the
Let
purple
Ibli check
mushroom.
bags. Ibli might have half one.
I look at Peter's character and says, "No, I do not want your trippy mushrooms that make you annoying. If you eat that, I will not make your headache go away. And if you are loud during the night, I will harass you again in the morning."
Hey,
Okay.
Front Jojo? Sorry?
Have you seen my blue front, Jojo?
No.
Ah, Ibli found half gem corn.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Would like to try some too, World Seer?
Certainly, I'm always up to try something.
I vibrated him. I stepped on my bed.
Serena looks at the dragon,
Mm-hmm.
says, If we assassinate this person, will it... I had the thing. Will it start a war?
It might. I will not lie to you, it might.
Will you help in that war if this starts a war because of your request?
I will help in the capacities I am able to.
Lubash.
Yeah?
Sorry,
Sorry.
go on, Bailey.
What you do to Stu taste funny?
Nothing? I was just staring at it.
Did you scrape bottom of pot?
Yes?
Ah. Good.
Probably. I don't know how to cook.
Need more herb. And potassium.
I have a mushroom.
No,
You can add the mushroom.
Yeah, add the mushroom.
Ibli will stab first before you do anything with mushroom. Dab, dab.
How high is my sleight of hand?
Serena, calls
Yes,
to
get the
Ibli.
giant ancient dragon stoned. That will end well.
Serena calls to Ibli and says, have these shrooms, and chucks over normal mushrooms that she still has left.
Mmm.
Understood, Peter.
Safe shroom. Ibli's now being vigilant for Peter.
I'm not going to do anything. Instead, I'm just
Yeah.
going to offer the purple mushroom straight to the dragon.
For fuck's sake.
The purple, that's the tiny one, yeah?
Yeah. I don't know what it does, but I got it off of what my captain says are time wizards.
Interesting. He holds it up and he examines it. I've not seen a mushroom like this before.
Serena looks...
And promptly eats it.
No!
Oh dear.
For fuck's sake!
He was offered food. He's assuming it's safe.
I don't know what it does. I said that to him.
Let me check
Well
what...
clear.
One moment. Let me check what his save is.
Oh, God.
Fuck you, Peter.
I need to go and find my book.
I approve of this scenario.
Same.
Of course you do.
Lubash here.
Hmm?
Ibli teach to cook.
Okay.
Like,
That's
for
not
now,
good.
What?
I just rolled the big... I need to go check what his constitution modifier is.
Oh no.
At
Anyway,
least
Ibli teach Lubash.
he's like a
basic
beyond
cooking.
ancient dragon.
Yeah, he's not poison immune.
Oh yeah, everyone else in the party would have gotten high off that, but Ibli know have fun with poison. Ibli can't get high.
On a 23, he fails.
Holy shit.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I told you, it was a potent mushroom. So, he continues to tell you, tastes weird. Slightly bitter, with a metallic tang to it. Not something I would expect from mushroom.
Oh, I've never had it. As I said, I got it off of what Captain calls time wizards.
Understood.
They seemed like farmers to me.
People can appear to be things they are not quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do a medicine thingy on him?
I'm gonna say no, because you didn't get to examine the mushroom first, and Peter's the only one who would know this, but the mushrooms take about half an hour to kick in, if not longer. All you know is he ate a purple mushroom.
I'm getting one minute.
I look at Peter's character and say, if you have killed him, I will kill you.
Oh, I don't believe it'll be that bad. You're overreacting. I feel fine. I'm rather hardy.
Yeah, he was flying around screaming about being able to taste color at midnight last time he had a mushroom.
Parrot was what they called a hummingbird.
I'm failing to see a difference between normal humanoids, but I'll take your word for it. You're all such
This is gonna be
fast-lived creatures.
fucking hilarious.
He wanders over to Ibli's cooking while still addressing the rest of the party. Seems to be coming along well.
I burned it slightly.
Ibli teaching to fix.
Understood. I'm not particularly worried about burnt. I've had char broiled, so it's still not black, so it's better than what I've had before. He proceeds to dip a finger in.
Question.
It's coming along nicely. Yes.
Sort of breath do you have? Because I know some dragons have acid, and some do cold, and others do lightning bolts and fire.
It's easier to show than to explain. And he just sort of leans off to one side, and with a rather hearty cough, a billow of bright orange and yellow sparks fly out, scorching the ground.
Yes,
Interesting.
No,
Yes, sparks.
these look like metallic shaving sparks, like that of off like a grinder or something. Red hot, scorching. So not fire as such, like, yeah.
Can I go examine where he
Sure,
coughed, breathed?
sure. What would you like to examine about it?
Like whatever's left over, what happened?
There's not much in the way of physical remnants, but the ground has got a scorch mark similar to what you'd expect. And there are very, very tiny flakes of what appear to be metal in the general area. Some of which are still glowing a dull red.
I look and say, you breathe metal?
Very, very small amounts, yes.
You're a very weird dragon.
I'm perfectly normal, thank you very much. I am by far not the weirdest ones out there.
I come from Kubara. I believe what you are, but I've never heard about you. And I was taught dragon prophecies, and strange. She just looks and says strange and mutters strange and walks off. Just muttering strange every time and looking at him.
He's normal. Lubash learned that there are gem dragons apparently too.
Yes, those are almost extinct, and even more interesting to learn about than some of the other dragon varieties on the planet. And if you ever want to see a dragon with a weird breath, if you ever come across a chromium dragon, they are quite interesting.
Okay, at this point, Serena hearing this walks back over. I wish to cast Zone of Truth because I have the thing.
What's your spell save DC?
Yeah, I'm gonna check that, okay?
And it's a wisdom save, right?
I don't know, hang on a sec.
Please tell me this is about when the mushroom starts kicking in.
Tell me you're reading the chat and what I'm putting in there.
Oh
Trent.
yeah, I have been reading your
Yes,
teaching
yes, I am.
lessons.
Fuck off Discord notifications. I'm trying to type something here.
Sorry, trying to. Oh, the stupid sheet is playing up. For me, give me a sec.
If you just click the spell, it should print to
Yeah,
chat.
no.
So it is a charisma saving throw. So what is his charisma save? And I'll tell you I don't even have to ask. Because your save cannot physically be high enough for him to fail.
Okay, so anyway, she casts Zone of Truth. Does he say anything?
He just sort of looks at her. And then you feel the effects that he failed the save. He willingly failed the save.
She looks at him dead in the face and says, I come from Kibara. I was taught about dragon prophecies. I was taught about dragons. I respect dragons. But you're telling me, or told my friends, there are gem dragons.
There are gem dragons. I am a Ferris dragon. There are multiple kinds of us.
I know, and I list all the dragons I would know.
Yep.
Oh,
Tell me where a gem dragon fits into this. I'm willing to believe there are iron dragons.
He gestures in the air, and he gestures with one hand. You have the chromatic dragons on one side and the metallic on the other. The Ferris somewhere in the middle. The gem dragons are right over here, and he takes 3 steps to the right. Over here on their own, a completely different beast, uninterrupted and unlinked to the rest.
That's when meta knowledge hits her and says, "What about the dragons beyond them?"
Shush you.
I know. I'm not saying anything.
But yes, gem dragons are, while Ferris dragons are the middle ground between chromatic and metallic, the gem dragons are an entirely different beast, their own creation, several of which come from alternate planes of existence.
She just looks like so frazzled and weak and...
Hey, Trent.
Yo.
How'd you do the leaning letters?
At which point he starts rocking back and forth slightly.
Damn it. Asterisk before and after the message.
Cool.
I look and say, I was not taught this. I need this information.
I can provide you with the information. And he begins to walk forwards. How much would you like to know?
All?
He reaches out, and anybody proficient in Arcana, or that is a arcane caster, recognizes that he's begun to cast a spell.
Oh shit.
I don't recognize it.
No, as
I
a
just
proficient in
watched.
Arcana or a arcane caster.
I'm an arcane caster, me. technically.
Am I dead?
So he reaches forwards and he places a thumb on your forehead and another thumb in the center of your chest. And I need you to make a intelligence saving throw.
Am I on the floor screaming in pain?
We'll get to this. I need to see what your saving throw
I
is.
think I've irritated him now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far. To reiterate, just before you ask this, he's just begun rocking back and forth.
Oh God, it's just
You do not succeed against his save DC. I. Hmm,
He's screaming on the floor in pain.
Oh,
we'll get to that. I need to roll some dice.
Yep.
oh God.
How dead am I?
Math, math, math,
How
math,
dead am I?
math.
Trent,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I have how I spelled that.
that's fine.
Hmm.
Comment is your first language. It's fine.
Isn't first language.
Okay, I've missed some of these because of my tantrum up the dragon. I need to go back and read these.
They're talking about cooking.
Oh. D&D dice roller. Hopato pato. Hopato. Hopato pato. Hato. 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 Do. Do. How long did Dragonborn live? Dragonborn. Age. Around 80. Do. Da do. Da do. 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 Hee hee. Hee hee. Hee hee. Hee.
Carragher's like,
Oh.
Lubash.
Oh. Wait. Trent, did you just put a slab of chili powder straight onto a steak?
No, mustard.
Oh, mustard. Still!
So,
I'm dead.
Jess, having failed your saving throw,
Am I dead?
you take 158 psychic damage.
Holy shit.
It's a
No,
mad
I'm just
echo.
unconscious.
No, dead.
How many hit points do you have?
I'm dead.
Let me check your sheet.
I'm dead, James.
Why are you whispering?
No,
Like,
you're
oh,
not.
It's a mad echo.
I'm trying to understand why you all sound like you're just echoing.
You
It's just
have,
James.
before insta-death,
was gonna say, I think James hit his,
167 hit points
keybind.
before insta-death.
Okay,
Sounds
I'm
spooky.
James is a ghost.
almost damn near dead. Anyway.
You're unconscious. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw against massive system shock.
Yeah, I'm probably dead.
As you just took 50 lifetimes worth of information in less than a round.
Ooh, ouch.
A lot of information.
So you
Also,
don't
James,
you don't suffer a massive damage effect.
James, I
Yeah.
think you've hit your bind key for the echo.
Oh yes.
We're just getting this massive echo voice.
It's hilarious.
It's a mad
It
echo.
is.
Exit. Come on, exit. Yeah, no, I hit slash for
So,
Can people still hear me?
hello?
Doop-a-doop-a-doop-doop-doop-doop.
Hello?
No,
Can people hear James?
I gotta reset
Nope.
my stuff on Discord.
Okay, yeah, he's got to do stuff. Well, I'm on the floor. Probably screaming unconscious.
Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop.
You probably scream once as you faint.
I think
Can
she
people hear me
fainted.
now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I closed the voice mod, which it was still looking for the voice mod even though it was closed. Yeah, no, I hit the slash when I was typing in roll, which the slash was the hotkey for the voice mod.
I'm on the floor.
Yeah, see, you've just watched the dragon go up again. I can teach you everything. Just touch whack. That wasn't supposed to happen.
I just kind of watch.
Little friend, I may have had a mishap. Serena's just sort of sprawled out on the ground.
So,
Who
what is
heals?
the
Who
saving throw
heals?
now?
Go say.
We'll get to that. Ibli has one turn before you make a save. The party has one turn before you make a saving throw.
I
I'd
shout for
like-
someone to heal her.
If anyone wants to-
I was gonna say,
make it there in one turn.
How
I
far
can. I
away
want
is...
to do a medicine check.
Can
One at a
everybody
time.
one at a time?
Ibli,
Trent,
it's one turn before they make death saving throws, so if you want to start heading that way.
Trent, you were saying something.
Never mind, I thought I had a different instrument.
Trent, one of the musical instruments Trent could have had in place of the one he had gives healing words.
I don't have it.
I literally get to heal after using dash action.
Okay, so
I can throw you.
Peter makes a medicine check. You are stable. Ibli can then cast a healing spell and you're back up. You have 4 hit points and are conscious again.
I look and say, ow!
You now have 50, so 4,000 years of knowledge within your head.
Ouch.
You asked to know everything.
Ouch.
Yeah, I meant all about dragons, but she would have said everything. She was having a moment, okay?
Yeah, and the guy who's now rocking back and forth, like turning over a shiny coin, took you literally.
I looked dead at him and, ow!
See,
No one
This is
except
bad.
for no one except for Serena knows what happened. I will give the 3 people who cast arcane spells the ability to roll an arcana check to determine what spell may have been cast.
22 from Raymond.
I'll roll, but I'm guaranteed not to get it.
I'm all on these 11s tonight, aren't I?
So Raymond, you're pretty sure that was modify memory,
Modify memory.
but on a level you've never seen before.
Right.
Modify memory like does 10 minutes or I think like a year at like 8th or 9th level.
Okay. With all
Okay then.
With all this new information, do I still have this moral crisis about killing the dragon?
I mean, your morals are untouched, but you're now aware that these dragons are a thing. More or less, you've just obtained the equivalent of 4,000 years of him telling you everything he knows.
Oh, wow.
That's why it was 4,000. He's basically told you his life story in the 4,000 years it would take to tell it in abbreviated terms.
Does she get boost her intelligence from that?
I'm going to figure that out during the week.
I just look and say, ow, ow, ow.
What happened?
Ow.
What happened? You asked him something, he touched you and you fell down. What happened?
I believe now is actually apt for the time of I can see through time.
Yeah.
Ow. So much. Ow. Is he still rocking?
Less rocking, more now just like walking around turning the coin over.
I look and say, you okay?
I feel perfectly fine.
I look at Peter's character and say, I must slap you when I feel better. Ow.
No! I didn't do anything! I made you not die!
Him. And I point at the dragon.
James, quick check.
He's a dragon person!
Yeah?
How do we know that's not normal?
What do I roll to do the Heimlich on someone?
Oh, God.
It would begin with a grapple. So it would... I'm going to say you can grapple him without a check because he's not really paying attention. Then it would be a...
No, read
Oh,
What the fuck?
athletics check.
Oh my god. Can you do it to Lubash?
Yes, there will be potentially a consequence, though.
17.
Cool. Trent, I need you to
Yep.
make 2 constitution saving throws.
Oh my god.
One for the Heimlich, one for the poison skin.
He's fine on both. At least
You eject the spoon, and you resist the poison.
Oh. This is a hell of a session.
And because you rolled high enough, Ibli does not crack your ribs.
You know what? This is a dumb thing. Can I walk over and poke the dragon with healing?
Sure.
I wish to give him 5 points of healing.
Boink, nothing happens.
Fuck.
Here's the thing. When you healed Peter, he was hung over.
Yeah.
The dragon is currently suffering the poisoned effect.
Can I fix that? Probably not.
I think if you spend 5 points, you might be able to remove the poisoned effect.
Well, that's what I did.
Yeah, I'm forgetting how lay on hands works.
Neutralize 1 poison effect in it.
So 5 points, bink, you just watch his eyes come to. And then there's more. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Ow.
Well, I may not have to tell your friend here much more of my story.
Ow.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at him dead straight in the face. Ow.
I would offer you some healing, but I don't have those spells.
I'm assuming I will get a tome later of information.
If I can be bothered writing it, you'll either get a tome or you'll just get snippets here and there. I have to figure out what's going to happen with this.
I am looking say very interesting life, but still ow.
I'm terribly sorry. That mushroom had an unforeseen effect on me. Normally, my fortitude is high enough that I'm not affected by such things. I must have had a momentary lapse in judgment and reason.
I turned and look in the direction of Peter's character and yelled, "Stupid bird!"
Mushroom! He was hungry!
She mutters in Draconic, "Stupid bird."
I think I killed Bailey.
Ah, yes. The moment I read that, I knew exactly what was going on. The majesty of
Yep.
toast.
Yep.
Alright, I think my net's screwing up because I cannot see anything past. I think the last thing in the chat's Bailey saying no more.
Wow.
Try scrolling
no
down a
way.
little bit.
I am at the bottom of the scroll. It doesn't scroll any further.
You might be suffering a server disconnection.
I'm having a lot of internet trouble today.
Yeah.
Long
Yeah.
story short, Raymond.
Yeah?
Lubash said you can cook bread twice. Watches in amazement.
To make toast. Also, I choked on a spoon.
That's what the Heimlich
Yeah,
is for.
I have had no idea what you guys are laughing about. So.
They've been having this whole side conversation in chat.
Honestly,
So
it's been amazing.
Yeah.
I suppose
Okay.
can I sift through this knowledge and understand?
I'm going to say for now, you have advantage on history checks for anything related to this person's backstory.
Do I? Can I sift through this knowledge now and understand why he wants the?
Oh, yeah. Very, very easily.
So I would not feel moral crisis about it anymore.
You recall exact conversations of committing genocide against the bipedal inferior creatures, wiping them from existence if they refuse to serve them. And then later talks of maybe we can use them to our advantage. Maybe they can be better servants.
I'm assuming they basically would have seen me as an abomination, as Trent said.
Then some of the upper Ferris dragons don't really care what you are if you're not a dragon. If you're not a dragon, you're inferior.
I walk over to him because I would have walked away, just trying to walk back over and go.
You have the worst study headache ever.
I walk back over and say, "Still Al, gonna keep telling you Al till Al goes away, but I understand now."
Just hear Aaron go, "Can't you make the headache go away yourself?"
It's more than a headache. I don't have enough to make the owl go away.
At which point, anybody who's watching Serena knows that she's bleeding from the nose.
I look and say, "I understand now."
And again, I'm dreadfully sorry that I had never intended to do that to someone.
Someone got a sleep spell?
Actually, she would be susceptible to a sleep spell at the moment.
I
was about to say she's immune, but it goes off current hit points, not max hit points.
look and say, "I also apologize because I know you willingly failed the save for my zone of truth.
Coco not.
I know what I said.
Coming from Kibara, we are taught everything about dragons, or at least I thought we were taught everything about dragons.
You're taught everything about the dragons that are willing to have themselves be known.
So I'm sorry, but for one such as myself, it's a giant shock.
It's understandable.
It was rude of me to cast the zone of truth.
It was perfectly understandable. I was saying things that challenged your very knowledge of the world.
Did someone just oink?
I believe it was a belch.
Oh, okay.
I believe it was a stifled belch.
Yep. Sorry.
All I heard is oink. I'm like, what?
He looks at a lot of you. It is interesting to have divulged so much and have, after so long, people willing to ask questions and listen. And take a interest in what I have to say and my opinions without either trying to attack me or running and calling me a liar.
You have stories that I want to hear.
I am interested to hear what you have all been up to as well. I do not experience much of the outside world nowadays.
You should come visit Lubash's family at some point. We have crazy stories. And lots of people.
I just might at some time.
Serena at this point looks at the dragon and says, "Can I just sleep anywhere in here? Just ow."
He just sort of gestures over. over there is probably the best spot, and he gestures to a section where there is like a pile of like clothes and garments. It's the closest thing to a soft bed I have in here.
She just goes and curls up there. Just ow.
Yep.
Oh.
Because
She
You go,
writes
Jess.
down. She writes down as much as she can with that fear of forgetting.
She can just start writing. You're gonna need more books.
you're going to need a library.
I look up and say, books,
I don't have any empty ones.
paper.
Nope. Things have a bad habit of catching fire.
Might lose knowledge.
I'm happy
I
to.
hand over 10 sheets of blank parchment.
More.
That's
Come
all
on,
I've got.
Serena, come on!
He's finished cooking the gem corn.
Thank you. I eat the corn.
I was going to say, I go over to the cooking pot, say, can I have some?
Just a whack with a spoon. It's like, not ready.
Aww. It smells ready.
Whack! Another one to the side of the time. And. Not
Lubash will bring over when
Fine
ready.
then.
Go sit!
Fine then.
With that,
I love the
stand
duality of this. Like Jess is talking to Jess and everyone is talking to a dragon, and Lubash is learning to cook.
With the thing, did he write back? Did he answer the thingies? Like, obviously you'll tell me, but I can't remember. Can you? No, it's cool.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking. He wouldn't have had a chance to write responses yet.
Well, I suppose the question is, do I know more about those things now?
You know a bit more about the prophecies in general, but a lot of the stuff he taught you learnt was verbatim. It wasn't exact copies of his memory, so you don't know all of his knowledge. So you don't know everything he has studied. You only know the information that he deemed interesting to tell him about his life. So you've learned a lot of things, but he didn't basically go, boop, you now know all of what the Draconic Prophecy says because I've had long enough to read the whole thing.
Can I just write down, like, all the important things?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just going to write
You can
in
dot point the shit out of it. It's still probably going to take probably your entire book and like most of the paper Pete gave you to dot point it.
Don't care. Going to dot point.
He sits down. Now, do any of the rest of you have any questions for me before we await dinner?
Oh, just once she sat down and started dot pointing,
Uh-huh.
just every now and again gonna like stagger up and walk over and just point at like the dot points to double check if she feels like they're not 100% accurate.
Uh-huh.
And then go back.
They're going back to the others. Do any of you have any other further questions?
Nope.
No, Lubash got his answers in the last few days.
Nothing I can think of right now.
Not that I can think of.
Just want to share stories.
What happened?
The kid serving his feathered face starts walking away.
Seems dinner is ready.
Lubash places, Lubash runs, gets more, places.
I wander over for food.
So
Sit down!
Everyone gets a lovely piece of bread.
Puts in front
with
of
some garlic paste on it. And a bowl of mustard and
Curry.
with a bay leaf soup.
And shrooms. I gave you normal shrooms to put in.
Yeah, they're in the soup already. Soup, casserole, thingy, whatever you want to call it. It's whatever Ibli can do at the moment. There's no burnt flavour though. Ibli proud of that.
Korath and Kudro both sit down and begin eating. Delectable as always. Much better than charbroiled cow.
Help this time.
Serena will slowly get up to join the others. and look at the others and say, we should get the other one, and someone should go get the other one or take food to him, or
I'll go get him!
Does
And
anyone
the
stop
car.
Lubash?
Lubash runs!
Uh-huh.
I call out, don't worry. Yeah, he's already gone.
4 hours. 4 hours later.
Trent, here is my
Yep.
question. You're running full
Yep.
speed, yes? Have you been out of the cave before?
I assume I've gone out for fresh air during a few days.
We did at one point.
Fair.
Back in a couple minutes.
So he's aware it's a sharp turn out of the cave.
I'd assume he'd at least remember mostly.
Remember, we went out and got like little bits of firewood and.
I was
on the very
asking because if you had
mountainside.
not left the cave, I was going to make you make a dexterity save to knock Wile E. Coyote straight off the cliff.
I love that description.
Well, the thing is, he'd a Wile E. Coyote, and none of you would have been fast enough to catch him. And long fall, short stop, doesn't matter. He's a barbarian. You weren't living through the fall.
Serena
Yeah.
will get up and join the table.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at Mr. Welter and says, I have so many more questions.
And I have many more answers.
And, pokes herself with 5 healing points
Yep.
to stop the nosebleed.
Yep.
Says, I don't know about the rest of my party, but I need to sleep before I can leave. I will help with what you want done after now you're knowing more things. I will help.
I'm back.
Yep.
And if you are able to create your own dragon marks and you so deem me worthy, I would be honored to have a dragon mark from your bloodline.
I have a theory that might work that we can possibly try in the next day or two before you leave to possibly grant one.
But only if you deem me worthy.
I have already spoken to your friends here and they convinced me that it would be a good idea to possibly try and pass on. It would be a way for me to grant an aspect of my power without taking anything away. But I will not force it upon anyone here. But if the experiment is successful and it does grant a mark, I am happy to grant it to anyone who is present here. Trent?
Yep.
Sure. You ping back in like a couple of hours later. We'll give or take whether Mikey comes because that's up to him. I'm not going to...
Yeah.
Especially with the fact it's like 10 to midnight. I'm not dex marketing him in now. But
That's why I whispered it.
Yeah, start of next session, I will give Mikey the option to have come up with you or to have stayed down with the cart.
Well,
I mean, I could just bring the entire cart up.
Yeah, but you got to get it down.
Yeah.
Just leaves cart and a dragon forward. That's a smart idea. With horses too.
But that's what we'll actually call the session. Just because it's a nice natural stopping point with the dinner.
Serena's gonna go to bed straight after dinner.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop the
Well,
recording.
that's why I